Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at the Marvel Legends Spider-Man Last Stand Spider-Man, and it's not the best of the Spider-Man retro cards, but it's a pretty cool one, and Last Stand Spider-Man is kind of a popular character design. I think you guys let me know in the comment section below, did you have any interest in this? Before they showed the figure, let's put it that way. Anyway, there's some good stuff and some bad stuff about this guy. It's kind of a basic design. You'd think they'd have a pretty easy time making an action figure of it. I'm not sure they did. It seems like they might have struggled a little bit, but there's some good about it for sure. So let's go ahead and get him off the stand and take a closer look. Alright, before I show you the figure, I do want to show you my package. Again, I don't think this is the best Spider-Man packaging, but it does look nice. I like it. A little bit of artwork there. It doesn't too much detract from the figure. I think that's okay. And then we have a very basic back of the box with a pose that's not exactly helpful for the figure. It's okay. If you're an on-card collector, it's not the worst thing in the world. It's one of their better packagings, I think. Alright, so let's go ahead and get into this guy. As I'm getting the ruler ready, I'll mention I am using a new camera, so the settings may not be perfect for the next few videos. We'll see as we get things tinkered and honed in. Alright, this guy stands about 6 3/8 inches tall. That's going to make him roughly, and we'll call it 16.25 centimeters. He is in stock at Big Bad Toy Store. If you're interested in picking this guy up, there's a link in the description below. This guy stands just a touch taller than Darwin. Let me straighten out Darwin, maybe not. I know it looked like Darwin was taller in the camera, but that's not the case. Let me see. Or at least, I mean, it wasn't the case. Maybe Darwin is taller, if I could get him to stand. Yeah, Darwin might edge him out just a little bit. Yeah, I think he does. Darwin's just a touch taller. Here he is up against the McFarlane Batman. Clearly out of scale there. And then Marvel Select Cap, definitely. Oops, definitely not in scale for that. It's not as bad, I think, as most people are saying. There are definitely some problems with it. I think proportioning being the worst one. It is more akin to a guy in cosplay, which I say that a lot about Marvel Legends, and I think it's getting truer and truer. This is not shaped like a comic book character. He looks kind of dorky, if you ask me. Now, once you pose him, it's not as bad, but even with the jacket, he needs bigger shoulders that are higher up, especially with the jacket, I would say. And the way it is, the head looks big. I don't think it necessarily is, but I think the shoulders being so small and the chest and the abdomen not being a real good V-taper, it just throws off the overall look. And I think you can pose some of that away, but we'll get into that later. As far as paint goes, they did nail, and sculpt, they did nail the eyes, I think. I love those. Looks good. Spider is pretty clean. Not the best looking spider in the world, but it's okay. The black around the torso and sleeves, not bad. Love that they did a decent job on the hands. That goes a long way, making the figure look good. And then the pants and boots are all just garbage. Garbage, grayish, black plastic. Nothing good going on there. So he's definitely underwhelming. I think that would be the best way to describe him. I don't think it's the worst thing ever, but it's definitely not impressive. So if you're like all about getting a Last Stand Spider-Man, just so far, we'll get into the articulation and stuff, this might be a decent enough option. Like, he's not going to stand there and be hideous. We've seen way worse, but he's certainly not going to be impressive. So aesthetically speaking, a generous 7, probably closer to 6.5, I think would be a good rating for him. Now, as far as accessories go, get ready to be impressed by Hasbro's laziness. He has the 2 open hands that come on him in the package, and then 2 fist hands. That is it. Nothing else. I'm just going to, out of spite, knock it down to a 0 out of 10 for accessories. I don't think that's okay at this point. Okay? Especially with a figure that doesn't have any shading, doesn't have the right sculpt or anything. Like, let's give him something, right? But no, nothing. Alright, now for articulation, I have to say, it's one of the best neck-head combos that Hasbro has done. They tend to screw up their ball pegs, but on this one, they did a decent job. It's not perfect, I'll show you, but it gets way better range out of the neck than a lot of their figures do. So, again, definitely could be better than it is, but he can use his head better than most. Doesn't look up that well because of the collar. Not much you can do about that, really, other than make it soft. But the ball peg is not the problem. The ball peg is working. It's doing its job. The ball peg for the neck, they still screwed it up. You can see there's a big gap right there because it's sitting so high. But yeah, it's definitely a decent neck for nuance posing, which you're probably going to want to do with this guy anyway. being that he's got the cool jacket. Alright, for the shoulders, they didn't give you anything extra. No butterfly, no extra range, no good shoulders, and they just barely make it up to horizontal. Hasbro really puts an effort into not putting an effort into things. It's kind of impressive, honestly. Bicep swivel is fine. Double jointed elbows work very well, no problem at all there. Wrists have a swivel and a hinge, that's fine. Torso articulation, there's nothing going on here, obviously, because they just said, nah, we're not even going to do an ab crunch, even though we could hide it nicely in the jacket if we did the sculpt correctly. But they did do this, which is, they have done good ball pegs. This is one of them. I don't know how come they can't do it more often. It's not the best thing in the world, but it's certainly not bad. If you had this ball peg at the bottom here and an ab crunch, oh man, you'd be able to get some really good range, or even better, a double ball peg up here, but even their classic ab crunch with this kind of ball peg at the waist. Guys, this is what I've been telling you for so long. If you have the upside down ab crunch with the ball peg, the way they do it, where it's flipped, it doesn't work. This is what you need. You need that ball peg down here, and then the ab crunch, if you're going to do an ab crunch. This is a really nice hip joint, or waist joint. That's good. Now for the hips, he can kick up to almost horizontal, which is pretty lame. They don't go back at all. They don't go out to the side very far. So for a Spider-Man figure, we have another probably limited poser. We're going to see. Thigh swivel, not great. Double jointed knees work pretty well. Proportioning is not the worst we've seen, so that's okay. And then for the ankles, if you go a little bit of force on there, you get them pretty far back. Going forward, it's definitely good enough, that's fine, and then you get a decent ankle rocker. So, yeah, he's okay. He's not as bad as I think a lot of people are saying just because he's missing some points of articulation. There's some stuff in there to make up for it. I don't think it's going to be the worst thing ever. I do think it should be a whole lot better. I think, let's see here. Yeah, you can still get some range out of those hips if you do the upside down hip thing. It's a little tricky on this guy, but let's see. Yeah, I think it's going to be okay. Definitely not the best thing in the world, but it's not the worst either. Like, he's still going to look decent. Does he have an extra joint in there? No, it's just the waist one. Yeah, I mean, the torso needs to be way better. I don't even care about the hips that much. You can make them work well enough, but if they had just done one more POA in the torso, it'd be almost really good. Instead, it's just like one really good joint that's not that helpful. So I'm going to give his articulation a 7 at most. Again, probably closer to a 6 or 6.5. It's not anywhere near as good as it should be. And this is what's so bothersome about Hasbro. They clearly can do it. They can. This neck is better than most necks they've done. This ball peg down here is better than probably every ball peg they've ever put on a figure. That wasn't like one of the big round guys that could just get all kinds of range. But the rest of the figure, why is there nothing up here? It's Spider-Man. Why are his hips limited? Why do they still not understand the proportioning? Why are the shoulders so low and small? Every time they do something right, they still do so many things wrong. But there are some good things I didn't even mention, like his shoulders are a little bit farther back than normal. He has kind of a nice posture. They just need to make those shoulders a little bit bigger and a little bit taller, higher up. But yeah, it's still just another Marvel Legends phoned-in release. I'm going to give it an overall rating of 6.5 out of 10. I can't go any higher than that. I don't think it's the worst thing in the world. If you want to just stick him on the shelf kind of like midway back, I think he's going to be fine. But it's certainly not impressive. Limited accessories, limited range, limited effort. Typical Hasbro. Yeah, 6.5 is the best I can do for this guy. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, though. So thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. And if you haven't subscribed, you should. I have new videos just about every single day, and thousands already on the channel. So make sure you come back for all of that. And in the meantime, keep collecting.